of course, is playing out here. Of course, Saishi, they are on the Legion side, and we got Boce here on the Hellborn side. Again, this is a Group B matchup. Now, another note as well, both these teams are actually 0-2 going into this matchup. I know the graphic did say 1-1 for Saishi. That was actually a mistake, though. I apologize for that, but actually, Saishi has lost both to Fit and Impunity in their first two matchups. So they're 0-2, just like Boce. So a battle of winless teams here early on, looking for their first win, actually, here in the group stages. So, an important matchup in that sense for these two teams, and, again, happening to be the only matchup today that's happening live here for Group B. So, We'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely, you may recognize some names we talked about, as you were mentioning. We have half-cast and Saishi before every now and then Boce, Cat Lomain and his new crew here to see what they bring to the table. So, looking forward to seeing if we get some quality play here out of these two teams.
Yeah, going all the way back to Clan K, which was the first time I had ever heard of Cat Lomain. He's been part of the competitive scene now for, I want to say, probably a good 4 or 5 months. He even had a team that competed at DreamHack Summer in the BYOC. So, it's definitely, he's become kind of a staple member of this competitive community, and he seems to put together some pretty decent teams who at least understand what they're doing at this level of play, and that's always going to be respectable. And I'll tell you, just kind of speaking publicly here, and I've talked to you about this before, and even other members of the S2, but I really feel like competition has never been better in Here's Our Newer than it is right now. There are teams like Fnatic and Complexity and Trademark, TT Esports who, they stand out. Orange Esports even, they stand out as far as being like the teams to beat. But we saw yesterday. I think when you're looking about Fnatic and Trademark. Or was that 2 days ago already?
Oh, that was 2 days ago, actually.
2 days ago, yeah. But, I think most people came to that match expecting, okay, so TDM, they're kind of a new team, even though they're all old players, they've been around for a little bit. They still might not have that chemistry, that gelling period that all teams need to really be able to feel one another out, especially to beat a team who is of high caliber like Fnatic. But they came in and just absolutely walloped on Fnatic, you know what I mean? So it was kind of... It wasn't that I was rooting against Fnatic or rooting for Trademark, but it was inspirational for me to see, some teams who may not have been expected to come in and beat a team like Fnatic to really come in there and put the best foot forward and really make a good, solid statement. And I'm hoping that, as we go through these tournaments, we're going to see these other teams, like 90s, Pikachu, teams that have kind of are filled with these half of really well-known players and half of kind of new players, and even the QSQ squads to really come up and step up and hopefully pull away some wins. The group stages across all the groups so far of the matches that have been played are actually pretty tight. There's really no clear victors thus far. I think Clan Milk is probably doing the best out there right now as far as and they're in Group D. They already got that win over Trademark. That's a really powerful win in that category.
Yeah.
So they still have to play Fnatic, though, and they still have to play TMRY, as well as a few other, Easy... Well, I think they're there to beat Easy Breezy. Mm-hmm. But, again, iLight, they've been having some pretty impressive victories themselves. Granted, they haven't played any of the really big teams yet, but, anything can happen right now in Here's a New Earth, and that's really what I think is the best part about this tournament, is that we all have this coverage, and we got great teams that are there to cover.
Yeah, exactly right. So, but this game, again, we're actually already at the selection stage here for these two teams, and I haven't even mentioned yet what we're looking at. So let's go ahead and take a look at this specific game now and see how the picking phase has actually gone. It started with the blind bands. We had Ophelia Tempest, and then Tundra and Jirazai by the Hellborn side. Honestly, nothing too crazy about those right there. The locks followed up with a Luna, Engineer, Hammerstorm, Warbeast, Silhouette, and Pebbles. So Pebbles actually the final lock there. By, of course, the Legion team, and, we talk about that. Obviously, they have that first pick in the locking pool. We'll see if they go with it, but honestly, Silhouette, Illuna just as easily can be considered first pick out of that lock pool. So it's going to be interesting to see how the lock pool plays out. But the Warbeast obviously being in there, that's very interesting. And then the bands Dark Lady Moraxis, Magnus, Wild Soul, Behemoth, and Polywog Priest. Wild Soul standing out there as he's kind of been an up-and-down competitive hero recently by certain teams. Banned here by Boce, so perhaps Saishi has shown that they can play him pretty effectively. Now the pick starting, and we definitely have some interesting picks, but, looking through all these phases so far, man, we are actually getting some fun picks here, but anything standing out to you? Well, oh my god, that stands out to me.
Huh?
Rampage. We just saw Rampage picked up.
You know,
Wow.
he's really strong. I want to see where they're going to lane him with. I really like to watch him either mid lane or I actually prefer to see him in the long lane. I think that it really maximizes his gank potential and his, just the fact that you get that long range charge, the build to 522 move speed. You always have to keep your team on its toes, or the enemy team on their toes when you have a hero like Rampage, because he can get across the map so quickly, and he's very, very frustrating to deal with early on, especially in the middle lane. There's not a whole lot of melee mid heroes, especially heroes like Monkey King, who a lot of times you'll see in the middle lane, and even Pebbles. If it's a one-on-one situation, Rampage is probably going to have an advantage there.
Yeah. Yeah, Rampage is actually, I agree. I mean, he is kind of one of those really underrated heroes in that sense. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying, like, why don't we see him more? We should definitely see him more. No, obviously, I get why we don't see him enough, but really at all. But picked up here by Boce. Like, that was so funny, because in the back of my head, I was like, you know what? With the way Boche's picking here, they went with the Gauntlet, Slither, and then Rampage. I wouldn't be surprised if they go Warbeast, Engineer out of these 5 heroes that they have left to pick from. Sure enough, it is Warbeast and Engineer to finish it off. Then you got a Luna over there to finish off for Saishi. So, man, I mean, obviously, you got Saishi over here with their 5-man lineup. We got Bubbles, Aluna, Glacius, Pebbles, and Monkey King. That, to me, looks like a very powerful lineup. That looks more of a lineup that you would expect to see. So Saishi, in that sense, props to them for doing that. But Boce, on the other hand, completely, unique lineup over here. Warbeast, Slither, Engineer, Gauntlet, Rampage.
I'm kind of curious as to whether or not we're going to see a level 1 Congor attempt here from the Hellborn team. I mean, they definitely have a team that could accomplish that, and then if they do see that, then maybe we'll see the Legion team head on over to check that out. Again, I mean, if you talk about teams that are really frustrating to deal with, the Legion team, I mean, they've got a really, really powerful team. Like Monkey King, he's definitely begun to find his way into the competitive scene a little more often. I think Mookie's from Clan Milk, I believe, is the guy who mainly plays him for them, and he's just been playing him like he plays him all the time, and he just plays him so well. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like we're going to see an early Congor. They would have already been on their way down there if they were going to be doing that. So, yeah, it looks like that's not going to actually be happening. Too bad. I mean, maybe they figured that the Legion team would try to check it out. They tried to do it. But you see the Legion team, they weren't even making any kind of like movement towards that. It's not like they were in any rush to get over there. So perhaps a missed opportunity there from Boce. But again, maybe that's never been their intention. They just wanted to pick this lineup to do something a little crazy with, and we'll see how it all works out. But yeah, I mean, as far as the 2 lineups are concerned, I mean, I think you've got to give the favor to the Legion team. They've got such a cookie cutter lineup, and it's very, very strong. I mean, Glacius and Pebbles, definitely one of the strongest dual lane combos.
Which they're not actually running. They're actually running Glacius Monkey King here.
Well, then, okay, so it's a Luna and Pebbles, which is probably the second strongest as far as the stun combination is concerned. Basically, you mix Pebbles with a single target stun, and you're in pretty good shape. So I think Pebbles is going to get relatively free farm here. It's going to be all about addressing Warbeast early on in the game, making sure he's not getting that uninterrupted free farm. And then bottom lane is going to be the solo Bubbles. He needs to be careful to not get caught out, because especially against a lane like Engineer and Gauntlet, if you get put in the wrong place at the wrong time, that's a lot of potential damage going to come out. Gauntlet is extremely effective in the early game.
That's just such a funny lane to say, though. The Gauntlet Engineer lane, not something you would expect to see in competitive heroes in New Earth. But sure enough, Boce running that here, and as you mentioned, going against Bubbles. So Bubbles will need to be careful. Of course, Bubbles being played by Angry Devo, actually, here for the Legion team, for Saishi. And notice what actually happened here with the creep wave. I'm actually a little bit, I'm not too sure how that got blocked so effectively, to be honest. Unless I just completely missed. Was it pulled by the courier, maybe? By the Hellborn team? That would be my guess, but... Oh, no, it was probably Warbeast with his hounds.
Yeah, it was Warbeast.
That's what it was. Okay, that actually makes sense. So, yeah, actually getting pushed all the way up to the tower. Kind of interesting right there. But, yeah, so a difficult time there for Bubbles. We'll see. I'm guessing Gauntlet going to be the focus of farm down there. You have the middle lane. Rampage, sure enough, going middle, as you talked about. Kind of like to see him there. Because with that charging ability, you can go to top or bottom pretty quickly, if need be, to maybe set up that gank. But yeah, this middle lane, he's going to have a hell of a time, against what is Glacius Monkey King. So don't expect him to do the greatest. But, I mean, so far actually not doing too shabby. But really that level 3 mark I think is going to be the sweet spot here for Glacius and Monkey King. And that's where Rampage will need to be very careful about getting ganked there.
Yeah, you see a little bit of harass going back and forth at the bottom lane between Bubbles and Engineer. I mean, I actually think that might have worked out a little bit better for Bubbles, having the lane pulled like that, simply because it got him an early level 2. Obviously, it's not controlling the lane that well, but now he's already off to level 3, and as a solo hero in the Suicide lane, level 3 at the one, below, before the 2-minute mark, that's actually pretty good, and you're going to enhance his survivability by getting early levels and take cover, which he just uses right there. Unfortunately, he does get caught out by Gauntlet, but Shell surfs away to safety. So, like I said, having those early levels definitely going to help him survive in lane and perhaps allow him to get a little bit closer to the creep wave than he might normally be able to.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting point to bring up. I mean, the fact that he is already level 3, that's a great start here for Bubbles, actually. But now the lane is getting pushed up somewhat. So as long as Gauntlet and Engineer are careful to keep it out of their tower range, which actually they're not doing here, it's actually should be going back to help out Bubbles even a little bit more. In fact, you see him pushing up there. And not being too worried, but there comes a pressure. The grapple will hit that keg stun, completely missing, as does a turret. So big miscommunication coming out right there. And Bubbles may be able to survive as a result of that. And yes, he will. Wow, that was really unfortunate. That could have been a very easy kill there for Boce. Engineer, though, and Gauntlet not communicating the greatest out of it. Oh, and Monkey King actually get frozen by Glacius in the middle lane. Oh, he did his Monkey King thing with the combination. Meanwhile, Bloodless kill coming out the top lane. Of course, I'm missing it, but Slither gets taken out by Pebbles and a Luna. But, yeah, both teams making some interesting, questionable plays. Middle lane, yes, Rampage will go down, and Monkey King falling shortly after. So,
worth it.
Man, chaos. Yeah, worth it indeed.
No, I mean, it's just so weird watching this lane. And that bottom team fight, by the way, I didn't really see. Oh, Bubbles might be in a little bit of trouble as, nope, he'll be able to show us up. So, but I didn't catch the beginning of it. All I saw was Engineer's keg go like 800 units south of where Bubbles was standing. So I'm not exactly sure what happened.
He got grappled, pulled back instead of going to him.
So just a lack of communication. Right there. But yeah, I mean, so far the game seems to be going pretty well for Saishi, as we expected. I mean, Pebbles is getting really good farm early on. Not quite over the 300 gold per minute mark. Had he been able to pick up that kill instead of a Luna, no doubt he would have been up there. But instead pick up the assist, but there we go, over the 300 gold per minute mark. He's doing pretty well himself, and Monkey King also over 300 gold per minute. So, and Rampage in a lot of trouble. Probably going to go down here. Let's see if he can run back in time. Oh, yes, he will be able to survive this. Dropping all the way down to 50 health, but Glacius' final auto attack just not enough, and Monkey King did not have the mana for it. So, going to go ahead and use these bottle charges and run down to bottle this this Tablet of Illusion. But in the meantime, Bubbles at the bottom lane, still trying to hang in there. Now you can see in the first 2 minutes, hitting that level 3, he just hit level 4 here at 4.5 minutes into the game. So definitely being slowed down quite a bit after that great leveling start that he had.
Yeah, definitely slowing down, but at the same time, again, he is level 4, so getting his job done. What was that?
Said, yeah, and in the Suicide lane.
Yeah, exactly. I know the Suicide lane there, but the short lane at the bottom. And, you compare that to, say, the Slither area at this top lane, so they're still level 3. And, when it comes to creep farm, obviously, only 3 and 6. Well, it's only 4 and 1 bubble, so not too much of a difference there. Top lane, though, so they're chasing. Oh, he misses the Stalagmites, actually. A good sidestep by Amen right there on Slither. He will get hit by the power throw, but he may end up surviving because of that dodge. He's going to get through some trees, trying to run away, but he's going to continue to be chased and harassed by this combination. Warby's coming in, but what is Warby's going to do? Not too much, other than a lot of damage, actually. Luna now dropping a little bit here, but I think Luna will end up surviving when it's all said and done. So the combination works out, not maybe as planned by the Pebbles of Luna, but at least they get the kill. That's what matters. And Pebbles finishing his Steam Boots right there. He is now at 286 gold per minute. It's actually even dropping a little bit, but again, still sitting around that 300 GPM mark and is off to a fantastic start. Once again, Rampage in the middle lane taking pressure, but he'll be able to get back to the tower and be fine before going down. So Rampage, at the very least, he is holding his own. Somewhat of a beefy hero, of course, so good amount of life and whatnot, but he's taking a heavy harassment, and his farm obviously struggling because of that as well against this Monkey King. So yeah, the start definitely much better for the Legion team. You got to think Gauntlet is going to be kind of a key here, as well as Warbeast for that matter, coming out of that jungle and trying to make something happen here for Boce.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're kind of have to see how Boce comes back into this game. I mean, granted, they do have Warbeast, so you look at a lot of the you can look at the late game and be like, well, if they can make it last for a little while, maybe they can come in. But it's going to be really difficult, especially with Pebbles getting this really great start. He doesn't have like the crazy early level advantage because Luna's been hanging around right next to him quite a bit. So at least he's not picking up those early levels, but his farm definitely is in a pretty good spot right now. Already picked the Steam Boots, 600 gold. We'll see if he decides to pick up the early Portal Key, or if he decides to go for something like an early Ring of Sorcery. Well, it's just kind of, when you're farming that well, I don't really know if it makes much of a difference, but I can imagine that they want to put the pressure on this Hellborn team really early on to kind of avoid from running into Warbeast late in the game.
Yeah, you can definitely argue that. Obviously, they do have a Monkey King who can be somewhat of a worrisome hero throughout the mid to late game stage even, but yeah, I definitely do agree that more of that early game aggression is where this Legion team very likely stands, and perhaps getting that portal key as soon as possible is going to be key here for Pebbles as a result of that. But yeah, we'll wait and see what who's that playing? Raised playing Pebbles here does for Team Saishi. Back to the middle lane again. Rampage is actually level 6 now, so he will have that pull ability and the chains that bind is what it's called. Long name there, but he'll have that if he wants to set up a gank. But this is the other thing, though. I mean, Rampage again. I think constant roam. I mean, not obviously. I'm fine with him sitting in the lane and getting farm for the most part, but the fact that he hasn't even used his charge once, at least from what I can see, and maybe even try to help either the bottom or the top lane, try to set up something. It does. I don't know. It kind of makes me feel like Rampage. That's the style that he should be played in, more so than just sitting in a lane and farming. Now 8 minutes into the game, still hasn't moved. Warbeast's gonna get caught in the jungle though. Monkey King and Glacius doing some roaming, and they end up finding him there. So really unfortunate for Warbeast, but. Yeah, Rampage still going out of here in the middle lane.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the big issue is he shouldn't have to help out bot because they should be doing pretty well. I mean, it's a 2 versus 1 situation and it's a dual stun lane. But at the same time, maybe going up to help out Slither a little bit could be beneficial. But again, against a double stun lane up there as well, I don't know if they really pick off any kills, and he's kind of just in a place where he doesn't have a whole lot he can do right now. If anything, I would rather see one of these people from the bottom lane come up and try to help him mid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Of course, both Gauntlet and Engineer having a pretty good time down here at the bottom lane. Warbeast even here, actually. They get the shelter on a ball. Ball pours over the cliff, though, but it wasn't far enough. Kiss my ass, Cat Lemaine says. Gets the kill right there. Monkey King obviously porting in, but just not in time. So yeah, really unfortunate for Bubbles. He thought he was going to be able to get away with a shell surf. Unfortunately, getting caught right on the ledge there. And the Hellborn team was able to collapse on top of him and take him out. So a good kill happening for the Hellborn team. Their second hero kill of the game. But still, things looking pretty good here for the Legion side. Although in the middle lane, Glacius actually in trouble. This is a smart play by Rampage here. He knows Monkey King's missing, of course. He'll go on to Glacius, easily get the kill with a double damage rune, in fact, and then turn around and back to farming go. So good heads-up play there by Jokeshot on Rampage.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take the opportunities when they come, and that's exactly what he did. It was a great job. And despite him being in this 2 versus 1 in kind of what I would consider a pretty rough lane, Glacius and Monkey King, he's still holding his own with 250 gold per minute, and I mean that's actually pretty respectable. Yeah. So we'll see. If the early start that Saishi had is going to be enough to carry them into this mid game, or if the Hellborn team, being able to hold them off just this tiny bit is enough for their heroes to really play the roles that they need to play. Especially this bottom lane, where they're going to be putting pressure on this tier 1 tower with Warbeast down here. Now, Warbeast not taking any levels into Battlecry just yet, which is pretty much standard. But they do need to be be very wary of this Legion team who has begun to kind of accumulate down here. Bubbles going to go in here. Does not have the ultimate just yet. Still only level 5. In comes Pebbles, the TP, but everyone's backing off wisely, and they're not going to be able to do anything. So a great job forcing those TPs. But with all 5 of the Legion team down here, will they look to mount a push themselves? Yeah. I mean, I think that's probably what they're going to end up doing here, and it's going to allow Slither a little bit of time to catch up on his levels and farm at the top lane. So overall, Boce, I think it's a pretty good opportunity for them to catch up a little bit here. As for the bottom tier 1 tower, not sure they're going to be able to do anything to stop this.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're doing a very smart thing, though, as you're putting it. So they're not only recovering now at the top lane, but in the middle lane. We got Rampage and Warbeast pushing that middle tower. They know they used all those homecoming stones right there, and that they are progressing in this bottom lane. So sure, they're going to lose the bottom tower, but hey, if they get even 2 tower kills out of this, of course, definitely working for their favor. But the tower is going to fall at the bottom. Now the middle and top tower actually still have a good amount of life left, so maybe not as much pressure as Boce was hoping for, but now Saishi is going to start falling back. Some ports are being used. Looks like to the secondary tower here in the middle lane, but this middle tower is going to end up falling as Catlomain will get credit for the kill. And again, still they're applying a little bit of pressure at the top tower, but eventually will be protected by Monkey King, who looks like is heading up here. So, but yeah, I definitely like the response there from Boce. Made the best of a situation. Again, sure, they lost their bottom tower, but at least they got a middle tower for it, you can say. And so kind of even in that sense. Portal Key, though, by the way, just purchased by Pebbles, being played by Raised. And that's, of course, that big key item. So sure enough, kind of as expected, he does go the Portal Key next. And now expect him to start moving around really crazy-like and setting up those kills. He's still level 7, so at least wants to hit that level 8 mark to maximize his combination, of course, between his Stalagmites and his Chuck. But will he be able to get that soon, and then will he actually just start looking to jump? I mean, you are dealing with somewhat of a beefy team here on the Hellborn side. That is the one downside, actually, as Pebbles does port into the jungle. But you got a Warbeast, a Gauntlet, and a Rampage, who aren't necessarily guaranteed kills by any means for this Pebbles.
What Pebbles needs to do right now is really focus on that Engineer and Slither. I mean, those have got to be the main targets. He's just got to get in there, and here we go on Slither right here. I mean, he doesn't even need you see the power throw come in at the last second. Not sure if it was 100% needed to get the kill. Probably not. Even at level 7, with Slither only having 700 HP, that should definitely be enough to secure the kill on his own. But, you know, I guess better safe than sorry. And they're going to put a little bit of pressure on this top tower. And, again, I don't see much of a defense coming right here. So, yeah, you know, Engineer, again, he seems to be a hero that we see in kind of small spurts. And the way that he gets run. But TP's coming in up top. Actually, mass TPs, 3 people coming in. And a really nice time there from Aluna, but Monkey King going to absolutely decimate Engineer early on, and Slither going to follow here as well. One more auto attack to take him out. Gauntlet going to be able to take out Pebbles there at the last second, and as well as Rampage using the ultimate. And looks like they're going to get a nice turnaround right here, as Aluna's going to fall. Gauntlet falls, however, and Rampage, the only person left alive up here. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, you see Warbeast really putting a lot of pressure here on the middle tower. Rampage, he's got the double damage activated, using those bottle charges, going to try to get in range, and yes, he's going to charge Glacius right here. Glacius in a lot of trouble. If Monkey can't do too much. As wow, Monkey King going to go down. Oh my God, one more auto attack. All it's going to take. He's taking a lot of this tower damage. He's going to try to get out of there. He should have just. Oh, he's probably going to go down to this auto attack. Yes, the catapult was able to get the last hit, the ballista, and Glacius is going to pick up the kill right there. So. Looked like he was going to be able to get it off, but Glacius getting enough mana at the last second. I believe he used the power supply there to be able to get enough mana to use the Ice Imprisonment, and that basically saved Monkey King's life. And also was able to pick up a kill for Glacius, so a really nice team fight there for Saishi. But the damage has been done to that middle lane tower.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up as well. I mean, again, a pretty good response from Boce, at least trying to make the best of a situation. And at least they do push the secondary middle tower while that was going on. But, man, Rampage showing his power. Of course, he had a double damage rune activated through all that, so obviously helping big time. But, yeah, he definitely did a work up there at the top lane. That third ability of his, the Horn Strike, that does so much damage when it's off cooldown, especially earlier on in the game, of course. And allows him to set up some nice kills. And, of course, he also did max out Might of the Herd. I believe that's what he maxed out first, even. And, you know, not only having the good debuff with that of slowing down your enemies, but that also does increase your own attack damage, of course, as a result of your movement speed, increasing your attack damage. So, yeah, very, very well played there by Rampage, picking up the hat trick, actually. Now he's 5-2 start here. So again, the kind of the good news here for the Hellborn team. And on top of that, you got 2 heroes in Warbeast and Gauntlet who actually are just sitting over that 300 gold per minute mark. So, you know, again, things not looking too bad here for Boce, but you are dealing with a Monkey King who is continuing to have actually a very good time being played by Hydra here for Saishi, of course. Now at 375 gold per minute. He actually picks up a Blessed Orb first. I would guess that's going to turn into, well, I don't know, actually. We'll have to wait and see. Actually, middle lane, we do have Rampage getting comboed on. Nice job by Gauntlet right there, trying to save him, but it just wasn't going to happen. Bubbles actually gets credit for the kill right there, and Gauntlet should be fine. Oh, Pebbles is chasing, but I don't think, yeah, they're not gonna dive that much. So, but yeah, good kill though happening on a Rampage there in the middle lane. But yeah, the Blessed Orb on a Monkey King. Wouldn't be surprised at a Nullstone actually, but we'll see what he ends up going for. But he's also going to group up together now and make a pretty solid push here in the middle lane. Again, we'll see how Boce reacts, if anything. But this middle tower definitely is going to go down in the Legion's favor.
Takes down a Hellborn tower.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's really hard to judge exactly where this game's at. I mean, the Legion team is kind of doing what you would expect them to do. They're taking advantage of the early game farm and the early game heroes that they had. But at the same time, the Hellborn team is kind of continuing to do their thing. You look at the tower kills. Obviously, there's only one more tower kill in favor of the Legion team right now than the Hellborn team, and only a 4,600 gold advantage. But the experience is still relatively even. 1,500 experience lead for the Legion team. Not really that big of a deal. Not insurmountable. I mean, a couple hero kills in favor of the Hellborn team would be enough to kind of bring that back to even. So, and Warbeast, he's over 300 gold per minute. I mean, he's kind of doing his own thing. It's not like any of these heroes are getting absolutely out of control. Monkey King is probably the most intimidating hero in the game right now, simply because he's farming 375 gold per minute and he's Monkey King. But even he right now is not like sporting like some crazy, it's 17 minutes and he's already got, a null stone, or he's already got such and such item. He does have the Blessed Orb and 1,200 gold saved up, so, I mean, I don't know if he's got anything in his stash right now. I can't really see it. But, looking at the courier, nothing on that. So, I don't know.
Nice kill actually happened at the top lane on a Warbeast right there. See, he was the one that went on to Pebbles, but all of a sudden they completely turned around. Bubbles was there, and of course the Aluna Power Throw even came in to set up the turnaround kill. So Rampage, you do see he's kind of off to the side, currently invisible. Maybe trying to find that lucky foe by themselves right now, but it's Bubbles by himself. But I don't even know if they're going to spot him. But in the meantime, the Legion team will just kind of group up and make a more of a mass push happen here. I think they're thinking along the lines as you were kind of just pointing out right there, how the Hellborn team, although they are behind as far as the stats go, they definitely still have a pretty strong team. You got to be somewhat scared of them. So Slither is going to get taken out right there. You see the dive happening. Pebbles in a lot of trouble from Rampage, and Rampage gets frozen at the last second. Not going to matter. The Monkey King now being chased out, and Feebles applied to him, so he's getting slowed down. You see the nice grapple there, pulling him back in from Gauntlet, and a double tap coming out for Cavor on that Gauntlet to hold off this push. Now the Hellborn team, a very good response from them coming out. Kegstone will miss Aluna. Nice attempt though. Bubbles going to get caught by Rampage here. Again, Rampage so much damage. Nice juke from Bubbles, though he does not actually pour with the Shell Surf, but he is still in a lot of trouble. Rampage is charging 3 seconds. As long as he has a vision, they should be able to get this kill. Nice job, actually. That was Aluna picking up a power throw kill, but they do get the kill on Bubbles as expected. So, when it's all said and done, actually, the Hellborn team made a pretty solid stand right there, and again, showing off their power that this Legion side, they can't overcommit. I mean, they dove beyond the tower right there, and it didn't pay off.
Yeah, again, like I said, we look at that team fight, and the experience has already gone down to just under 1,000 experience lead, and with having a couple heroes dead on Legion team, it's going to afford a little bit of time for the Hellborn team to pick up some. And actually, the bottom lane, there's a little bit of action going on, but still they're not going to be able to pick up that kill. So
he missed his poison spray and his ultimate on Aluna. He went for both, and it didn't even hit. Hey, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the breaks, I guess. But I mean, I guess the big thing is that despite raised on this Pebbles doing keeping his farm up relatively high, he's still only 1, 2, and 6. So he's not really picking up any hero kills, which is not allowing him to really facilitate that the farm that you would expect for him having that great early game start, especially in that top lane. I would expect for a Pebbles who have the kind of gold per minute and kind of start that he have, especially with heroes like Engineer and Slither who are pretty weak, and we're pretty weak. I would expect him to at least be able to be over the 400 gold per minute mark, and you see him picking up that early Great Arcana. Oh, sorry, it's just Arcana now. So we'll see what I'm assuming he's going to turn that into a Hellflower, but maybe into a Spell Shards. I mean, we've been seeing some crazy things from Fnatic doing their 5 Energizer build. Granted, I don't think Saishi is feeling as comfortable as Fnatic was with their game. So perhaps a Hellflower, but I mean, I would expect for him at this point to at least be well on his way to picking up Soul's Bulwark if he was following the typical the typical build that we see Pebbles taking.
I was gonna bring that up as well, because Soul's Bulwark, Monkey King is a hero that you could sometimes I don't even know usually, but sometimes see Soul's Bulwark as a priority choice, and if it's not going to be on him, then you would maybe expect Pebbles, but neither one of them going for it, and I bring that up because not only could they use it to their advantage, but obviously this Hellborn team has a lot of physical damage. Speaking of that, they're going to jump right here. Gauntlet in the background, jumps Glacius. Glacius will fall, so they're going to be taken out though. He does not have his Poison Burst cooldown ready to go. The Engineer ultimate obviously activated. Monkey King getting pulled in by Joke Shot right here on Rampage. Rampage though in a lot of trouble as Pebbles is able to combo him, but nice catch from Monkey King actually coming out, gets the kill. Meanwhile in the background, Gauntlet and Warbeast actually go ahead and take out Aluna, and now they're going to go for Pebbles. Pebbles in a lot of trouble, actually. He is pretty low. He does have a portal key in 1 second. Getting it up in time. Oh my god, he cannot. Actually, the Kegstone will hit, and he will end up falling most likely. He gets the portal key. He wasn't able to attack him. Pebbles is still alive. He has a homecoming, so why isn't he using it? There we go. Oh my god, he's going to get away. Monkey King still in trouble. Trying to turn this around, and he will turn it around on the gauntlet right there. That could not have ended any worse right here for Boce. They had a big chance to get a kill and run away, and they couldn't even do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that looked like a great... It looked like great strategy early on. You know, they played it very well. The engineer also... Ooh, nice power throw. Not enough to kill Warbeast, but very close. But they started the team fight off extremely well. With Engineer landing a really nice ultimate, and the fact that they were able to get Warbeast and Gauntlet from behind looked like they were going to be able to, you know, pull off that classic pincher move.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it didn't go the way they wanted to. Pebbles was able to escape barely due to Gauntlet not being able to really find him in the woods, and then Monkey King able to turn it around and get almost a double tap kill there near the secret shop, or I'm sorry, the observatory. Unfortunately, like I said, it just kind of went complete opposite way for Boce. But saying that, they're continually chipping away at this golden experience lead that the Legion team has had, and you know, every time you look at it, it seems like it's getting a little bit closer to being even between these two teams.
It is, and Saishi, I honestly think it's safe to say they're almost on a time limit here. I mean, again, Warbeast, he does continue to lead the way for the Hellborn team, is still behind both Monkey King and Pebbles, as you were putting it, but at the same time, he's keeping it close, and he'll gradually start growing. And speaking of Warbeast, actually, now, he had a Mighty Blade, and I was going to say he's got the Trial Seal of Approval, because it looks like he's going to be going for a Shrunken Head first item, or not necessarily first item, but a follow-up to the Abyssal Skull. But no, instead he actually goes Ice Brand and then picks up a Glowstone. So he apparently is going to be going straight for a Frost of Skull here. Again, not a bad choice by any means. I can actually see that being very powerful here. And, you know, great on a hero like Warbeast, but at the same time, Shrunken Head so useful, again, especially for a hero like Warbeast, who's about mobility and keeping on your opponents. And you got a very CC-heavy team here on the Legion side. So I'm not sure how I feel about going the Frost of Skull over Shrunken Head, but still, Frost of Skull is at the same time a pretty powerful item.
Yeah, I mean, especially as a melee hero, and the fact that it allows you to stay within attacking range, and it's really good, especially as a strength hero, you know, with all the strength bonuses that you get from having the Frost of Skull. It's an extremely effective item to have. Gives great stats, and overall, it's just a really strong item, but it's also the most expensive item in the game. Well, I think actually now Genjuro is the...
Yeah, Genjuro's the top.
Genjuro is the top. It's 6,300. But, ooh, actually some action here at the Ancients and Gauntlet able to take out Angry Devil on that bubble. So, a really nice pickup for them. Looks like actually Engineer picked up the kill for that. But, yeah, again, it's a really solid item. Especially as a carry, a strength carry hero, gives a whole lot of benefits for him. But I do agree that the Shrunken Head is just invaluable on a hero like Warbeast, where it's all about your mobility in team fights. And if he doesn't, if he doesn't have a Shrunken Head, he still is, susceptible to stuns. And you look at the Legion team, and they all have some form of stun or some way to keep you from doing what you need to do. You got silences, you got stuns. And it's just a lot of annoying factors to deal with on the Legion team, especially when you're trying to travel around the team fight. So I'm guessing he's going to be looking to kind of come in later on and finish off teams or finish off players, after team fights are primarily over. But it's kind of what he's limiting himself to.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, so he is pulling up gold once again, another 1,500 gold saved up, so he actually is getting pretty close here to finishing that Frost of Skull in the next couple of minutes or so. But yeah, we'll see how much of an impact that truly does have now. It's going to need to have an impact sooner than later because Warbeast's in a lot of trouble right here. He's going to get completely jumped and die immediately after. Gala getting followed up on as well, but he's trying to get a good response out of this. Rampage charging, but again, Rampage gets frozen. The glacial downpour coming out. You see the Engineer putting up his ultimate, trying to make something happen for the team, but Monkey King just sitting in the midst of it. As soon as it goes down, he jumps on a Rampage, and Rampage will get another right there. Bubbles actually made a fall into the poison damage as he's just barely trying to live, and actually it looks like he is going to get away. The grapple trying to save his teammate, not going to happen though, since Monkey King pulls him back. Hat-trick coming out for Hydra here on that Monkey King, and all of a sudden Gauntlet realizes him and Engineer are the sole survivors here, as Engineer's going to pour it out, and Gauntlet will be fine as well, but again, just a better jump coming out from Saishi, doing what they need to do with that advantage, and the Pebbles initiation really started that fight, and it was just great follow-up on top of that, so well played by Saishi there once again.
Well, I think it goes a little bit back to what I was talking about how Warbeast has to play in the back of these team fights. And then wait for basically all these people to use all these spells and then come in and try to clean up while there's like a mass confusion going on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was the person who was out in front. He was the person leading the charge, and that basically made him the #1 target, as he should be. So they were able to eliminate him very early on, which eliminated a majority of their physical damage. And after that after that was over, there wasn't a whole lot left for the Hellborn team to do. Engineer got his ultimate off very late in the team fight. It was not very effective because Monkey King was already in within the ultimate, so he was still able to get those abilities off and really shut down Rampage from being effective in the team fight. And then he planned it just perfectly for the ultimate for Engineer to end by the time he used his vault to be able to get across and pick up another kill himself, and actually pick up a hat trick there at the end. Now 10-2 at almost 400 gold per minute. Monkey King is definitely the scariest member in the game, or the scariest player in the game right now, and 2,400 gold saved up. So we'll see what he decides to go with next.
Yeah, and that goes back to obviously his first item choice, and I definitely like him, and it's a great counter tool for this Gauntlet for his ultimate. And then I guess actually I was looking at it. Really, there's only 2 abilities with Gauntlet's ultimate and then Rampage's charge, or I guess his ultimate as well. So yeah, so really 3 in total. Of course, that on top of items as well, which could eventually be picked up down the line. So yeah, definitely a solid choice there. And Monkey King is a hero that could use a good amount of mana regen. So, but as you mentioned, 2,600 plus gold saving up and counting, cleaning up some jungle creeps. We'll see what he has next in mind. I did talk about that Soul's Bulwark, not necessarily even for offensive purposes, even for defensively. Could be very useful here for this Legion team, but neither Pebbles or Monkey King going for it just yet. Pebbles does actually have a ring mail, though, so I wonder if that eventually is going to turn into it. Rampage, in fact, there you go. There's a Soul's Bulwark purchase by Pebbles. But Rampage actually just purchased a portal key, I believe I saw, which I find very interesting, and I think it fits the same logic as Warbeast. I mean, I think it's along the same lines as a Shrunken Head. It's so powerful, and, Rampage, amongst many other melee heroes, of course, very, very useful to be able to not get kited around because you're just getting chain CC'd or slowed even. So I don't know how I feel about... I mean, a portal key, obviously, it could be solid for jumping in and maybe catching someone with your ultimate and pulling them back, but I don't know. I still think Shrunken Head is a very powerful tool here, and they're just not seeming to see it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you mentioned this, but Saishi picking up the Void Talisman.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely it's an item where a lot of people it seems to be relatively underused, but against a hero like Warbeast, it is extremely efficient pickup. Even Rampage to some degree, but especially against Warbeast, being able to survive for just that much longer, avoiding all those auto attacks for that 4 seconds. A hero like Aluna, definitely the longer you can spend a team fight, getting an Emerald Lightning and Power Throw off. She's definitely a hero that you want to have in the team fight, and it's really going to extend her longevity there. And the stats that it provides are pretty significant when you consider the cost of it and the effect that it provides.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's obviously a very smart choice there from, as you mentioned, Saishi playing that Aluna, because it just happens to be the team name as well. But Assassin Shroud, just purchased by Monkey King, I believe I saw, and it looks like it is being delivered to him right now. So he's definitely going for more of that, kind of gotcha type of damage, also an escape mechanic if used that way. And well, it doesn't necessarily help in his tankiness by any means, but again, he has a null stun, he has around 1650 life, so actually it's pretty good in that sense, at least at this point on. So I definitely can appreciate that Assassin Shroud pickup here, actually.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that turn into a Genjuro, actually.
Oh, of course, but we do see initiation coming up from Rampage. He does use the portal key, pulls in Pebbles, but in comes Monkey King now. Now the Engineer ultimate going down. That may screw some things out. Warbeast with his ulti form will tear through Pebbles, get the kill. Gauntlet picked up in the foreground as that nice Luna trying to use that Danger in a good way, but Monkey King continuing to do work in the background, chasing after Slither, will pick up the kill right there. Down die dropping on the ground. Warbeast out of ulti form. He's going to try to pour it out now, and actually he should be successful here, it looks like. So yes, he will survive when it's all said and done. So no buybacks being used there. Rampage Engineer and Warbeast all end up staying alive against the Luna, Glacius, and Monkey King. So 2-for-2 exchange right there. as a little bit of tower pressure as well coming up. The Bounty is still on the ground, actually, right near the tower, and I believe Rampage just spotted that, so he's going to maybe try to just guard it or pick it up, but yeah, so they should be able to keep it, it looks like.
Yeah, I really like the initiation from Boce during that last team fight. Rampage picking up the portal key, able to get in there, and then combining that with the Engineer Ultimate is actually extremely efficient, because the only way you can get into the Engineer Ultimate without being silenced is by having a Shrunken Head, which no one on the Legion team has yet, or even looks to be going for at this point. So, I mean, that's a very, very effective way to start the team fight. You can almost guarantee that you're going to eliminate one hero from the enemy team, and nobody can really initiate without being silenced or just inconvenienced. So I really liked it. Very, very smart pickup and great team play.
Yeah, it definitely was there, as you mentioned, with Jokeshot on Rampage getting that portal key. So again, like I was saying earlier, I kind of still like the Shrunken Head, but he went the portal key first. It did definitely work out there as far as an initiation goes. And now he does have a Mighty Blade, so I would kind of hope to believe that that is going to eventually turn into a Shrunken Head. At least that's the goal. Now, Congor being attempted, but obviously it was spotted by Aluna. That's what she does best. You see a Shell Surf even coming in, but Bubble's not going to port with that, so Congor still plenty of life, is going to be fine in the end. And the Hellborn team kind of just maybe try to bait the Legion side into going in for an initiation here, but Saishi not having any of that. They're playing pretty passive themselves, and really just kind of toying with them, making sure that they're not actually successfully doing the Congor kill. So back to farm we go, it looks like, for both of these teams, and obviously for Boce. They will gladly take that for now. Frost's Skull has been finished on Ward's Beast. We've said that for just a little bit now, but still worth mentioning. And like I said, not only Mighty Blade on Rampage, but also one on Gauntlet now too. So I think the message is kind of getting out that the Shrunken Head and how powerful it could be this game, really for both teams, as you're even stressing as well. The Legion team could also use against that really Slytherin Engineer even a Gauntlet. So could be possible choices for that. I was also thinking, even a Barrier Idol wouldn't be a bad option here. But that's the thing. I mean, you do got Barrier Idol, like a lot of magic damage between Slither and Engineer, but at the same time, you're also dealing with a War Beast and a Rampage, really a lot of physical coming out from them. So you kind of have to, go one way or the other almost. But yeah, this game, it continues to be very interesting. I mean, I think it's safe to say Saishi, for the most part, has continued to be in the lead, but it's never really gotten too crazy. It's Boce's holding their own, and right now, even 6,600 goalie, 6,000 experience lead, not that crazy. Only 33.5 minutes in here, so definitely Saishi still has their work cut out for them as far as winning this game. As we do see Shrunken Head, though, finished on Gauntlet right there, so good choice for him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's going to come down to what this Hellborn team ends up doing. Like, they're continuing to put pressure on Congor here. Legion team, they know about it. Actually initiates from Rampage, but really no one was there to back it up. Pebbles is actually going to be initiated on. He's going to follow immediately. No Engineer Ultimate yet, so they're still in a pretty good place for this team fight. Glacius is going to freeze this War Beast, and War Beast is just going to kind of stand there for a minute, but Gauntlet, no Ultimate right now, and no Grapple either. So they're going to turn around and probably try to finish off Congor, but meanwhile, the top lane, Monkey King putting a lot of pressure on the defensive tower. It will certainly fall. One more auto attack, and yes, it will go down there. We'll see if he decides to fall back or continue to put pressure on here, most likely falling back. As he will, well, maybe he won't TP out. I mean, I guess he figures we can't stop the Congor, so might as well put as much damage onto this defensive tower as possible while I can. But, I mean, I don't foresee this defensive tower going down or anything. We'll see if there are any TPs come back. Rampage is actually charging right now. He can't charge Monkey King. It would have cut off the Nullstone. Yeah. But, yeah, so
that's actually
trying to get up there in time.
That's a good point. I mean, he actually charged the creep because if he attempted to charge Monkey King, then of course it would have been nullified. So, but wasn't able to catch him. But in the end, it was definitely a smart play by Monkey King. I mean, like you said, they didn't have a chance really. You might as well just get as much pressure as possible at that top lane, knowing that Congor is going to die, and that he did accomplish. He has 3,600 gold, so he actually does have enough for that Dancing Blade, which would give him the Conjuro here if that's what he chooses to go for, like you were mentioning earlier, and I agree with you. I mean, I can see that as being a very possible pickup here for Monkey King. So we'll see in due time if that eventually is his choice. But Rampage did end up finishing a Soul's Bulwark, actually. I believe he got that after the Mighty Blade, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he had it before. I'm just seeing things. But anyways, so still working on a Shrunken Head nonetheless here. for himself. Warbeast was the one to pick up the Token of Life, by the way, and he also has another 2,100 gold saved up. So again, honestly, especially now after that, I'm feeling pretty good here for Boce, but really for Saishi, you know, if they can get that jump once again, which we have seen several times in this game, you know, good Pebbles initiation, Monkey King with a great follow-up, as well as the rest of the team, then by all means they could definitely have a good chance still in coming through in this game. But it's this Hellborn side of Boce is getting more and more powerful as this game goes on, it seems like. And it's going to be difficult to deal with, especially with that Warbeast. You know, now that he has a Frost Skull, you know, if he happens to get that Shrunken Head here, he is going to be a force to reckon with in these team fights. So they're going to need to be careful about that.
Yeah, and looking at Monkey King, he's got 1,400 gold saved up. I want to see what his next item is. I think he's got to get some HP on him. I mean, even though he's got 1,800 life, okay, so he is going to finish the Genjuro. But I would really like to see him pick up a Shrunken Head himself, because he needs to be able to be mobile in these team fights as well. And that Engineer ultimate, when it's placed the right way, is just so annoying. Rampage, perhaps? Nope, he's going to be able to pour it out, and Bubbles might actually find himself in a nasty situation. Nope, using that to take cover, and then Gauntlet going to PK away as well. So not trying to get into, or either team, or both teams not trying to get themselves into sticky situations. I think either team knows that at this point, the next team fight could very well decide who ends up winning this game.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely are at a little bit of that sweet spot here now, 37 minutes in, with still Saishi remaining elite, at least as far as stats are concerned, but you look at Boce's lineup and where they're at overall, and you still feel pretty strong for them as well. So Warbeast will continue to farm things up here in the middle lane now. He has 3,000 gold saved up himself, so like I'm saying, I think 3,900 gold is going to be that mark for him to purchase that Shrunken Head and really be strong now in this game. And you talked about Monkey King, possible Shrunken Head on him could be a powerful choice. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see that as well, as you talked about really that Engineer ultimate. But it is one of those things, though. It's sure it'd be great against Engineer and even Slither for all his dot damage, but like I was saying earlier, you still have a Warbeast and a Rampage who they honestly don't give two shits about you having a Shrunken Head on. They'll still do their thing and do a lot of damage. So it is kind of that almost a double-edged sword sense where it's like, sure, I can get this, but I won't be good against this. But yeah, so we'll see what Monkey King ends up going for here when it's all said and done. I will say the support is actually doing pretty good as far as their items. And we talked about Aluna earlier, who, by the way, has 3,600 gold pulled up herself. So she is just really going up there. And Glacius, the ward bitch, I mean, he managed to get a Tablet of Command, and very useful against heroes like Gauntlet or Rampage. So yeah, that's a good job for the support even coming out here from Saishi. But back to farm we go. The Warbeast, about 3 minutes on that Token of Life. Now he's very close to that 3,900 gold mark, so I wonder if he's going to maybe get that, get the Shrunken Head, and then if they're going to push, knowing that they still have the Token of Life, we'll wait and see here.
I would mean that's probably the direction that they're going to go. I think that's the most intelligent direction to go. If he does not pick up a Shrunken Head here, I will be pretty surprised and maybe live a little bit mad. But no, I mean, well, we're going to see what he does. I mean, going for the Frosted Skull, as like basically the first item itself was a little bit questionable, but not picking up a Shrunken Head here, I think it would just be a mistake, like a straight up mistake, because again, it all comes down to mobility in these team fights. He's already, even with the Shrunken Head and the Battle Cry on, you can see he's already doing 259, 263 damage. There, you know, now Monkey King, okay, he's doing some ridiculous damage right now, but he also has double damage, so I'm not sure what the actual thing is going to be once it shows up, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to be more than what Warbeast is doing
with the War Cry,
with Battle Cry. So it's about to run off. Let's see. So 222 to 228 compared to 215, 219 without Battle Cry. So I mean, it's very comparable between those two. A Shrunken Head is just going to take Warbeast to the next level overall, and despite this gold and experience deficit that they're in, should be enough for him to basically secure the win, because at that point all you really have to do is, whether you want a team fight or not, you can just run around and take out towers. I mean, backdoor, any kind of strategy you want to run.
Yeah. Well, he's not going Shrunken Head. He actually just purchased an Axe of the Malphite. So, man, I mean, I have to assume that's going to be turning into a Behemoth Sard. I mean, he doesn't have a Whispering Helm, obviously, so.
Plus,
and
you
we'll
don't
get the Frosted Skull, so yeah, that would just be silly. So. I guess it's going to be a Behemoth Sergeant. I don't know. I mean, now what I was going to say about the Shrunken Head. See, this is the thing, though. The Shrunken Head, okay, so you can argue that maybe he needs more raw damage. The thing with the Shrunken Head, that mobility, in a sense, gives you more damage because you're able to not get frozen. You're able to not get stunned CC, so you can still do damage in the midst of those fights. Where Behemoths aren't sure. That same logic, maybe he should be going for more raw damage, but even more negative in the sense that it doesn't help him with CC. He'll still get CC. Sure, he may live forever, but what good does that do you if you're not able to, chase your foes down eventually, and he constantly gets CC'd? But, maybe just having that much life will, give him the chance to just stay strong in those fights and eventually get to his target and pick up the damage that he needs to get those kills. So we'll wait and see if that proves to be the effective choice here. Now, a lot of push going on right now. You see the middle and the bottom lane being aggressively pushed by the Legion team. The middle tower going down, but at the top side, the base is already being pressured. 20 seconds on the token of life. This is going to be an interesting situation here. The Legion team, if they wait another 15 seconds and then go for the kill on Warbeast, that could be pretty crucial. But Warbeast is not even going to give them that chance. He activates his ultimate, he runs away, as does the rest of the team. And I actually like that choice there from Boce. Yeah. No reason to force it at this point.
Yeah, I would say here comes another 3 minutes of static farming until Congor is up again, and then they'll try to do Congor, and then push again. So we're gonna wait for this Warbeast to at least finish his Behemoth's Heart, and then we'll see what he goes as his next item. He already has 1,000 of gold saved up, so I mean he is definitely well on his way.
3,500 life. I mean,
yeah, I mean he's a hard hero to kill, but as you were talking about, it does not make him immune to number one being killed, and number two, not being able to participate in team fights. I mean, with good placement of stuns, especially from Aluna and Glacius, who have their own roles to play in these team fights. If they can, here we go, right here. It's a big initiation in the middle lane. The Hellflower coming out. Warbeast's in a lot of trouble, and he's going to go down more than likely. Yes, he does fall. So, as we talked about, a Shrunken Head right there probably would have been enough to be the saving grace to at least get him out of there.
To be fair, he got Hellflowered, so probably not. But yeah, it's still.
Well, now he doesn't have the money to buy back. So I mean.
This is big.
We'll see. Yeah, this is big. I mean, this is a really good opportunity here, and they really didn't use too much. It's not like they used any ultimates there to kill him. So we'll see. Initiation here once again in the middle lane. Great initiation follow-up from Bubbles, and Gauntlet already dropping very, very low. In comes Slither, trying to use his poison spray, but you see Pebbles with that Shrunken Head. And this is going to be a huge team fight in favor of the Legion team, and they're looking at least probably Rax here in the middle lane. Nobody can buy back from the Hellboard team. It's just Engineer, who already uses Ultimate and Rampage. Yeah, this is going to be at least one set of Rax, maybe even two if they play it right.
Yeah, this is going to be big, big, big for the Legion team. Monkey King, want to be careful. Obviously, he's just flying around. That's doing the Monkey King thing, as we say. But the last thing you want to do is completely dive right here and then almost throw this lead that you're getting. But yeah, so they get the middle lane and say, you know what, Warbeast is up in 8 seconds. Let's just go ahead and be happy with that. And definitely like the decision there once again. As you mentioned, Congor actually could very likely be up here.
In a second.
Yeah, in any second even. So if they, even if he does pop up now though, I don't think that they would do it, as you see even on the mini map. Nowhere near it. So, but yeah, Congor no doubt going to be a key figure in this game, as he is in so many, of course. But man, that was a big pick there on a Warbeast, obviously pushing the middle lane by himself, and he's I'm sure in his mind, and I don't blame him, he's like, I have 3,500 life, I have an ulti form where I run at max haste speed, I can get away if I happen to get jumped, no big deal. Obviously, we saw right there that wasn't the case, so maybe he underestimated a little bit of that jump potential. And I mean, sure, having a double damage rune on a Genjuro Monkey King helps, but still. By the way, Monkey King 7,700 gold saved up. He is he's being a baller right now with that cash flow. So what is he? Obviously, the whole store is open to him with what he wants to buy here. I mean, I could see really.
I could see a Wingbow.
I was gonna say Wingbow. I mean, you talked about the Shrunken Head, but you mean Savage Mace just for raw damage. There's definitely a lot of choices here. Even Hellflower actually wouldn't be too surprised, honestly, to follow up with the Pebble Stopper. By the way, speaking of that, he picks off Slither there in the middle lane, and then quickly falls back. But he bought Post Haste actually so far, but still has another 6,000 gold. Yep, Sheep Stick. Wow, didn't see that coming.
That does not surprise me. It has really good stats and the ability, like nobody else has a sheep stick on their team. Well, I'm sorry, Luna does. Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Neither did I.
Yeah. Wow, crazy. So, but yeah, I mean, it gives great stats. The mana regeneration is extremely beneficial for Monkey King, who does suffer from some mana deficiency. And overall, I mean, that's a really smart pickup.
See, I don't know how I feel about
increase their jump ability, and Warbeast still not having that shrunken head.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna definitely give them much more of an opportunity to catch him out. And without Warbeast, we've already seen this Hellborn team does not have a whole lot of opportunity to mount any kind of offensive in these team fights.
My only problem with that is why that over Hellflower? I just don't. I feel Hellflower actually gives him more in terms of stats with the added damage, with the even more mana regen, and then just again with it being so powerful. For, if he happens to jump, maybe that Gauntlet of Rampage, you do have Shrunken Heads and get it off before. But anyways, we're going to have initiation right here. Warbeast is jumping, but there we go. The first Sheep Stick come out. Nothing we can do about it. They do jump Pebbles, though. That Golden Pebbles being activated, though, with the Shrunken Head. Trying to turn this around. Not going to happen, though. But you see, he gets picked off. Glacius dropping shortly after. And Aluna going to be the next target of choice. Now, Bubbles and Monkey King, of course, they did work in the background as well, picking off Slow there and Engineer. Now they're coming back into this fight. Warbeast, though, heading head-to-head with this Monkey King. Monkey King realizing he's not dishing out nearly enough damage right now, and he needs to be really careful right here. Aluna is going to start to get picked off once again. She doesn't have the Void Talisman out. Monkey King in the background. Again, just not nearly enough damage by himself. Surprising as it is to say against this Hellborn team. Pebbles buys back down. Pebbles rejoins the fight, as does Glacius. Now he has enough damage. Rampage will fall. Warbeast in a lot of trouble. He does have his ulti form to activate, and he's going to try to run away. Actually, smart by him running to the left rather than straight up the middle lane. Obviously you saw Monkey King there looking to cut him off, but now going to go back to Congor. And very likely going to get the kill right here. So the buybacks working out big time there for the Legion team.
Yeah, it was. They really needed that to come back in here, and picking up the kill on Congor to finish things off is a really, really nice kind of icing on the cake, so to speak, of their last team fight. So we'll see what they decide to do here. If they're going to make a push into one of these lanes, or if they're just going to kind of fall back to farming. Again, Monkey King, you look at him, another 2,100 gold saved up. Warbeast did really well during that last fight. And now that, I'm watching that, I am kind of thinking about what you were saying about the Hellflower over the Sheep Stick. One thing that I completely forgot about is that Sheep Stick on Warbeast in his ultimate form does not slow him down.
Yeah.
Like, he continues to run at that 522 move speed, so even getting him in con of that, yes, he can't activate any abilities or attack or anything like that, but he can still run away. Mm-hmm. He can still survive through that. Through a Hellflower, if you can catch him out before he gets in the ultimate form, that gives him just that much more time. So, I don't know. I mean, yeah. I guess it could have gone either way. I don't really see a huge problem with the Sheep Stick pickup, but I could definitely see the merit for either.
Yeah, and, with Warbeast now, he's at a point where he really can't get Drunken Head. I mean, he actually could, but I feel that he really just needs to get raw damage. I think a Savage Mace would make the most sense here for him at this point in time. So we'll see what Warbeast decides to go. But I think we did see a little bit that last team fight as well, especially against the Monkey King. Even trying to chase him around when he was getting in hits, wasn't necessarily dropping him too quickly. So
I'd probably see Rift Shards actually on Warbeast.
Yeah,
I think level 4 Rift Shards is the way to go, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, yeah, raw damage, and obviously both Rift Shards and Savage Base fit that very, very well. So we'll see. Catlomain here as he purchased a Mighty Blade, then he sold it, I believe, right away. So he's still kind of deciding what he actually wants to go for here. But yeah, man, if he goes for a Shrunken Head now, I mean, that's still fine by all means, but it's like, really, why didn't you get that earlier? But anyway, so we'll see eventually what he ends up going for. The bottom lane obviously being pressured a little bit here by Saishi, but it doesn't look like they're going to go in at least just yet. Pebbles trying to find that opportunity. Of course, he has that token alive, so he's feeling pretty ballsy right now amongst his other items, including that Shrunken Head as we saw the last fight, but not finding really the target of choice. And it could be a Warbeast, as we did see they surprisingly enough do have enough damage to burn him down. If everything follows up perfectly, but that was, of course, without any support, so probably not the most ideal targeted choice. But Pebbles in the front line, again, with that token alive, feeling very good. And they're gonna take out this tower. I don't see them defending that. In fact, Rampage will jump in. He pulls in Pebbles. Is this the right target? It's a big question, though, especially with that token. They're gonna go for it, but a nice shoot through an Engineer. An Engineer will fall before he can get off his ultimate right there. Well played by Monkey King, actually leaping around in the background. You see Warbeast getting frozen now. Pebbles does die, but he resurrects back up with the token left. Look at Monkey King, though. Monkey King is dropping, and Monkey King will go down. The Bound Die is gonna be dropped right there. Slither gets taken out, but now Pebbles in a little bit of trouble. Now Monkey King has bought back, and he does have the Boce, remember. In fact, he's gonna pour right back in right here, and he's gonna join the party. Good combination coming out from Pebbles. In comes Monkey King, and down goes Rampage and Gauntlet shortly after. There goes Killing Rampage, and now Warbeast, the sole survivor, realizing it. He does not have his ulti formed out for 3 seconds, and it's not gonna matter. Warbeast will go down. Hat trick coming out for Hydra right there after the buyback, and they're gonna go to clean up the racks right here, and that may be the GG moment.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the GGs right there. There's no one coming back for 70 seconds. I mean, I guess Catlomain could buy back, but I'm not sure exactly what it would accomplish. But I mean, that looked like it started off. I mean, it started off really well for Saishi, but you know, it looked like it could have turned around there when they were to take out Monkey King very early on in the team fight. Unfortunately, Monkey King just bought back and, you know, used post haste to come right back with the creep wave.
Yeah.
And now they're going to be able to finish off all these barracks, and we're going to be seeing some mega creeps coming out here from this Legion side, and that should basically do it. Oh, here comes Warbeast trying to mount at least one last offensive. Aluna going to be able to use that Void Talisman and then TP out for the ranged barracks, taking a lot of damage, and they will eventually fall. Monkey King still taking a little bit of damage from this Warbeast, but overall, just nothing they're really going to be able to do here. So this should be the GGs coming out.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to pick off Warbeast one last time to finish it off, and there's a vote to concede.
Yep, that's going to make it official, so if not the concede vote, the Sacrificial Shrine is actually dropping right here, and that could be the mark. But either way, the game is over. In fact, there we go. It is official now. We do have Saishi defeating Boce here in game number 1 here in this best set of 3. But, man, that was a hectic game, to say the least. Both teams, very interesting strategy, especially on the part of Boce, and they held their ground, and again, it did look like it was going to get to a point where maybe they'd start coming back and be even victorious on their side. But Saishi, they did a very good job, very patient game almost, you could say. And Monkey King, of course, being played by Hydra there for Saishi, did fantastic when it came to his farm. And he actually finished off with 2 Genjiros, by the way. I just realized that, unless my thing's bugged, but I don't think it is. I probably just trolled there at the end. But anyways, having some fun there. But yeah, he did a lot of work that game. And smart use of the buybacks. The buybacks were huge right there. Not only in the last fight, but remember the Congor fight, I believe it was as well. Was also a very, very good use of them. So, well-deserved victory for Saishi.
Yeah, I was very impressed. You know, some of the item pickups I think were questionable from both sides. I like the double Genjuro there from Monkey King at the end.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. But yeah, I mean, again, I think the Shrunken Head, not picking up the Shrunken Head on Warbeast, I honestly think that was extremely questionable. But I do believe that you were right. By the time the game was getting to the end of it, there really wasn't any big benefit of picking the Shrunken Head up over more damage. But still, I mean, to see a Warbeast without a Shrunken Head, it's just, it's so odd to me. I mean, when you think about heroes that require mobility, it's not like a hero like a hero like Magebane, who a lot of times will pick up a Shrunken Head himself, but at least they've got a blink to get themselves in and around the team fight. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like, you know, Warbeast, you're basically running everywhere, and despite the fact it's 522 move speed, you're very susceptible to people just single targeting you, and yeah, not picking up Shrunken Head is really questionable. I don't agree with it at all. But yeah. Saishi, there he came out on top from this game 1, and I mean, at least we got to see a really decent back and forth game during that first game. So it's not like we came in here and, you know, one team just stomped the other team out. This has been a very, very entertaining series thus far in the first game, at least, and I'm looking forward to game 2. And I honestly think that with the way these two teams play, I would not be surprised to see this go to a game 3.
Yeah, you know, to stress on that point as well, again, this happens to be the only match day here in Group B, because the other one's either getting postponed or even a forfeit victory, unfortunately. But so to say the least, it wasn't our first choice, but you know, not bad that we're getting the cast at the same time. We are getting some competitive heroes in Earth here in the group stages of the DreamHoN Summer Championships. That's what overall matters. A couple of the 0-2 teams coming into it, but you know, at least bringing some entertainment to the table. So that's the very least you could ask for, and happy to be casting. And with that said, game number 2, guys, around the corner once again.